Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by MFC Middleweight Joseph Henle. Joseph, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Thank you for having me on today.
Sure, no problem. Joseph, you got a fight coming up this Friday at MFC 34. How's training been going for the fight?
Training went good for the fight. Everything this last week is really just getting the weight down and, making sure everything's sharp. But training camp went great. All my training partners down at Rain, brought help from Mikey Gomez and Luke Polly, Jake Silva, all those guys have really helped me out to get ready for, this rather big fight for me. So it's been good.
Talk a little bit about how good it is to have such good training partners. You mentioned Jay Silva. There's also guys like Mark Munoz, Brett Cooper, guys who are training with you at Rain. Talk a little bit about the good training that you're getting.
It's having training partners as good as guys like Mark, Jay, Brett, Mikey Gomez. Having this makes you feel comfortable, you know what I mean? It gives you a sense of comfort with the skill level. You know the skill level's high. So even though your opponent is also highly skilled, he's not going to throw anything out at you that you've never seen training before. So, we really get the chance to simulate real fight scenarios with guys that are on that level. So it's, something that we really appreciate, and, we're really thankful to be with such a good camp.
So many times we hear fighters talk about their training partners and they list off guys who are maybe a weight class below or weight class above them. How good is it to have, a really realistic look of the kind of size you're going to be dealing with, because you have all these middleweights running around and that's the weight that you fight at?
It's actually the reason that I really started going down there. I actually live about 90 miles away from the Rain Training Center, but I got to drive through LA traffic if you've ever heard of the 405, and
right.
Just things that it's not fun to drive through, but having the guys like Luke Hawley and Mark Munoz with the wrestling, Mikey Gomez is a great style black belt. You've got all these guys with so much skill and so much talent. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you not go down there? You know what I mean? We've always got an influx of guys. Mayhem's always there. Pat Cummings is an ex-wrestler from Penn State. Is always there. Toshi Ishii is a 2008 Olympic gold medalist in judo. How do you not work down there? You know what I mean? So it's it's a thing that I feel very blessed to be a part of.
Now, when you're training with Team Rain, are you working more on your wrestling and your submission offense, submission defense, stuff like that? Because you have another team, Knuckleheads Boxing. Is that where you're working more of your stand-up? How do you balance the two training?
I do all my stand-up, specific training with Knuckleheads. My coach, Joseph Henle, a.k.a. Haas, works with Victor Ortiz. Magomed is a heavyweight who's had a fight in Russia right now. So we do all of our mitts, a lot of our boxing sparring. Miguel Ordonez is one of my sparring partners. We do a lot of that at Knuckleheads. I work a lot with I work with the smaller guys on more of their jiu-jitsu and stuff, like Chris Beal. But for the most part, I do my specific stand-up training at the Knuckleheads Boxing. And then I do all my team stuff, as far as, MMA sparring, big glove, full, kickboxing, MMA sparring, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I do all of that down at the Rain Training Center.
I think it's really cool that you're training with all these guys who are in your weight class, because sometimes it's kind of leaving the sport a little that guys won't train with guys that are in their weight class. But I think it's really a change of pace that you have all these middleweights that are willing to work together, because you never know on these smaller shows. Somebody might want you to fight Jay Silva or something like that. You never know. So I think it's cool that you guys are all working together.
It's one of those things that we all understand the game. Mm-hmm. Luckily, right now, nobody's in the same organization.
Right.
Luke Paul is with them at USA. Mikey's trying to get with them. I'm with MFC. Jay fights for, wherever he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Newton and Brett Cooper and Bellator. So we're pretty spread out, Mark's in the UFC, and we just, we don't, the opportunity to fight each other really has just never come up.
Mm-hmm.
But, some of the guys would be against fighting each other. It doesn't bother me, I just, to be honest, it's prize fighting. So if money's right, I say let's do it. You know what I mean? And I think some other guys have similar feelings. And so, we would just deal with it when it came. But, why not train with the best until you have to fight one of them? I'd rather have them close than, not know anything about them.
Now to the fight on Friday. You're fighting Luke Harris. What's your thoughts about him as an opponent?
I think he's a great opponent. You know what I mean? Definitely one of the, more dangerous guys I've fought to date. 9-5 winning streak, all submissions in the first round. I mean, there's absolutely nothing you can take from that guy. He's dumped everybody on their head. So I'm actually just really excited to have such a dangerous opponent. It's weird. It takes a lot of the pressure off. When you fight on a smaller show, it's almost mandatory that if your name is bigger than his, you got to smash him. If he has a name and he's you have a name and he's nobody, you have to smash him. There's a weird feeling of you have to do it. Fighting Luke right now, MFC, big organization, televised in 2 countries. I mean, I've read things of people taking him over me in the fight. So for me, it's just more fuel. It's like, sweet, you know what I mean? No, not everybody expects me to win this. All right, cool. I'm going to go win over those people that didn't think I was going to do it. So for me, it's actually refreshing. I really like having such a good opponent.
I interviewed Luke, I think it was last week or maybe the week before, and he said that you're going to be his toughest opponent yet. Do you believe the same? Do you think Luke is going to be your toughest test so far?
Oh, definitely. Mm-hmm. Definitely the most skilled guy on the ground that I've ever fought. He just seems like a very tough individual. You know what I mean? He's a little older at 34, 35, something like that. And you know what I mean? He's just he seems like a guy that's not going to go away. So unfortunately for him, he's never really been out of the first round, and that's something that I've definitely felt. I've been a part of being on The Ultimate Fighter. I've had tough fights, so I think I've had tougher fights than he has, but that doesn't mean that they were tougher than he is. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to have a great scrap.
Now, are you expecting, him to try to take it to the ground immediately? Because, you're no slouch on the ground either. A majority of your finishes are by submission. So are you kind of anticipating, just an MMA fight where we could see, a little bit of stand-up, a little bit of ground, a little bit of clinch, a little bit of everything?
He's going to take me. He's going to try to take me down.
Mm-hmm. That's what you're expecting?
But he's going to try to take me down. Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, he's one of these guys that's so skilled. He's kind of like a Damian Maia. Before Damian really started to throw blows, it was like, I'm just going to take you down and choke you, mm-hmm. Stop me, and that's something that I'm a big believer in. If you're really good at something, keep doing it until somebody makes you do something else. Mm-hmm. Luke's a ground guy. Why stand and bang with me if he thinks he's got a good advantage on the ground? Now, I don't know if he feels like he has a good advantage on the ground, and I know I'm comfortable. You know what I mean? I believe in my jiu-jitsu and my wrestling, so, I don't think the advantage is there. But, I don't know him or, I just know that what he's, accomplished in the past, and, if he's going to go with things he knows he's good at, I expect him to take me down.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be your first fight outside the United States. Are you looking forward to the new experience?
I am. I really like fighting away. It sounds weird, but, there's no... I'm not selling any tickets. I'm not setting up anybody else's hotel room. They're making sure they get to the venue, or what I mean. A lot of that is I'm flying out tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, and we're going to show up, work out, hopefully, beat up Luke and fly home. It's more of a relaxing setting for me. So I'm excited to get out of the country and entertain some new fans.
You mentioned the part about new fans. This fight is going to be broadcast on Access TV. There's a lot of people who have not seen you fight, but the people who have seen you fight, they've been wanting to see you fight in a major MMA organization for a while now. Now you're getting that chance. How happy are you that the MFC came around and decided to sign you?
I'm very happy. It's one of those things where, it's hard to say, but you get a taste of the limelight. Being on the Ultimate Fighter, people knowing who you are, people wanting to see you fight. The support is amazing. I have phenomenal Twitter followers, Facebook friends. People that just really go out of their way to tell me, that they want to see me do good. And that's something that, that really pushes me, that helps me. Any of those hard days of training, you have people out there that look to you and go, wow, I can't do what that guy can do. Man, I want to see him do good. You know what I mean? And you just get great fans, win or lose. People are always there to support you. So, it's one of those things that, I really like building that base and, just connecting with the fans. And so having everybody have an opportunity to really see me do what I feel I do best, it's exciting for me.
Joseph, I'm curious, with the UFC, are you not in the best graces with management there? Because, you know, with all these injuries that have happened and all these guys who have backed out of cards, you would think that, you know, maybe they would have tried to come get you. You know, you're an undefeated guy, you have Ultimate Fighter experience. Why didn't the UFC come knocking?
It kind of feels that way, doesn't it? You know, it's one of those things where I told people as soon as I got off the show and found out they weren't going to use me on the finale, and I kind of assumed they wouldn't, you know, being only 3-0. But I always told people it would take me at least 10-0 before they would come calling. You know, and I think it's because the way that the matchups that I got on the show, you know, I mean, Constantino's, you know, was a tough matchup, and you know, he was taking me down. He wasn't really doing any damage, but he just, you know, kept taking me down. And so, you know, catching him, submitting him, getting on the outs, I think they were a little bit maybe disappointed. You know, obviously they brought him back really quickly. You know, he won, I think, one fight at Ring of Fire and was back in the UFC. So, you know, I mean, I think they were, you know, when they pick fighters for the show, I think the show gets to pick a few people, and I think the UFC pick a few people. And, you know, being 6'1", hairy, tattooed with an MBA, and being a teacher, you know, I'm pretty sure I was a show pick, you know, with skill, and I just happened to beat the guy that the UFC really wanted. So, you know, and then my fight with Seth Kaczynski turned into a grappling match. Unfortunately for me, I hadn't made 185 a ton of times. The weight cut was hard to keep down in the house because you never knew when you were fighting. You know, when I was really burnt out by the time that me and him scrapped, and it turned into more of a grappling match. You know, because he's a phenomenal grappler, but you know, so it's one of those things where I think they want to see more of me. They wanted to see me knocking people out. You know, or at least, I mean, that would be the thought process for me. So, you know, disappointed, not really understanding. Yeah, you know, it's an invite-only game, and you know, you got to give them what they want. So, unfortunately, they just don't tell anybody what they want.
How about with Strikeforce? Do you think it's along the same lines they wanted to see more of you? Because people all the time talk about, Strikeforce, they had this lack of depth, you know, throughout all divisions. Were you ever like, hey, you know, why am I not getting a call from them if there's talk about, we need more guys in this division, you know, why am I not getting a call?
Not really. You know, it's Strikeforce is, you know, definitely a good organization, you know, but it's, you know, ever since we've really been on the stage, Strikeforce has almost been like an afterthought for everybody. You know, for Zoop, I mean, even who's their 85-pound champ?
Luke Rockhold. Yeah.
Even he said, he's like, you know, even before the last fight, he's like, I beat the crap out of Luke Kennedy. Who's going to care? You know, and unfortunately, that's kind of the reality. I mean, he beat the piss out of him, but it's not like anybody was tolerant for Luke Rockhold to be a top UFC contender. You know, it's one of those things where it's just like, well, yep, there he is. You know, so, I mean, you know, being in one of those organizations would have been awesome. Obviously, though, the UFC is really the ultimate goal for all fighters. They pay the best. You know what I mean? It's the recognition that you really get. You know what I mean? It's you know, it's just one of those things that it is what it is. You know, so hopefully one day, you know, if you know, I'm very happy to be with MFC. You know, but if the UFC, you know, in a contract year starts talking money that, you know, unfortunately MFC might not be able to match, you know, I would be a happy camper just because I really fight to make a living. So, you know, the money is kind of king right now. So,
do you do this full time, or do you have another job?
I'm a substitute teacher and a wrestling coach. You know, I still help out, you know, at the gym. I teach jiu-jitsu and wrestling, and I help out with Chris Beal and a couple of guys at the Knucklehead boxing gym. But, you know, I still work. You know, I definitely, trust me, fighting doesn't pay the bills at all. Even this fight, you know, I don't mind letting people know what I get paid. I'm getting paid $2,000 a fight, $2,000 a win. You know, and it's, you know, everybody goes, wow, $4,000. I'm like, yeah, it's not bad. But that's not going to pay all my bills.
Right.
You know, I got $100,000 in school loans. I got credit card stuff from, you know, just fighting. You know, you obviously don't have a steady paycheck. Sometimes you got to put things on the card to get by, and you know what I mean. So just, you know, the gas that I got to pay to train. I mean, I'm not over here making money. You know what I mean? You're not gonna see me rolling a nice car. I got a 2000 Chevy Prism with the strut out in the back and brakes that need to get redone. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's you know, you got to make money the way you got it. You know, fighting is just one of those things that we're
Now, a lot of people are talking about, whoever wins this fight between you and Luke Harris, and whoever wins the other middleweight fight on the card between Jason Flynn and Elvis Mutapcic would fight for the vacant MFC middleweight title. Has Mark Pavlich or anyone from the MFC said anything to you about that?
We've heard that from a couple of interviewers now have said that Mark said that.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool to me, I guess, but I don't know, it really doesn't, none of that kind of stuff matters until I take care of business on Friday. So, I mean, that would be a cool thing, but I guess something to attend to before any of that plays its way into my life.
Now, one kind of strange question to end things on. Your hair. Are you going to wear the hair in a ponytail, or are you going to wear the hair loose?
Always wear the ponytail.
Okay.
It will eventually come out,
Mm-hmm.
If the fight lasts very long, but, I pull it back, I'd rather it not be in my face.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I do love my hair, I mean, I guess I could get it braided, but, it doesn't bother me that it's in my face, but, we just pull it back. That's just kind of the norm.
Joseph, how does the fight end at MFC 34 against Luke Harris?
A TKO at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell you around, but I believe I'm gonna finish this fight. Well, I definitely don't want it to anything but a decision. So
right.
I'm gonna look for the TKO. I think he's gonna be a little, a very slick jiu-jitsu guy. Definitely a hard guy to submit. So I think TKO is gonna be the way to go.
Joseph, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you would like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Oh, definitely. Tricosta is a phenomenal sponsor of mine. They've got some amazing shirts. I love their wrestling shirt. I'm wearing their Neon FA shirt out to the fight, so we're really appreciative of them. GoToForLife.com. They are a health food website. Got a lot of stuff that we use, and we really appreciate the support. Definitely on social media that they've done for us. Street Soldier, it's a Canadian company. Just jumped on with us for this fight. We're really excited to be working with them, and we're really appreciative again of them being on the team. The Elite Group here in Camarillo, they are actually doing all my screen printing. They're making my banner. They're printing out all my stuff right now. They always keep me looking really sharp. Adidas Martial Arts, you can check all their stuff out at BudoMartAmerica.com. They've been a big sponsor for us for the past 2 years. Making sure that we're always looking and having all of the proper training equipment, making sure everything's solid. So, and then just my gyms, the Rain Training Center, Knucklehead Boxing, Coach Mark, Coach Haas, all my training partners, Mark, Lou, Mikey, Jay, Manuel, Britt, all those guys. And actually a big shout out to Chris, the Real Deal Beal from Knucklehead Boxing. I talked about him earlier, but he's a 135-pounder that seriously is going to be the next thing. You know what I mean? As soon as the UFC kind of gets their recruiting right, Chris is going to get picked up. He can make 125 pounds, and he's going to be a monster. So anybody that wants to get at him, his Twitter handle is @RealDealCBeal. Like I said, that kid's going to be a monster, so everybody should jump on it now. And, to the fans, just let everybody know that I truly appreciate all the support. You can get me on Twitter @Leonidas MMA. I definitely talk and respond to everybody. So, anybody that wants to get on and say what's up, find me on Facebook. I add everybody, Joseph Henle, and, just thank everybody for all the support.
Joseph, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck this Friday at MFC 34 against Luke Harris.